Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Middle Eastern fragrances have received quite a lot of hype in the past couple of years, and for good reason. They offer good quality scents for a reasonable price, and that's always a good thing. But in my opinion, not all fragrances that deserve attention have gotten the hype that they deserve. So in this video, I'm going to show you a few fragrances, Middle Eastern fragrances from my collection that in my opinion are underrated, or in some cases they're still very new to the markets and they deserve more attention. Before I start off with the list of those fragrances, I would greatly appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. Now, I'm currently aiming to reach the 2000 subscriber mark and I'm really close to that. So again, I would greatly appreciate if you like my work and subscribe to my channel. With that out of the way, let's talk about the fragrances now. I'll show you a total of 13 fragrances in this video. Now, on some of them, I've done individual reviews. You can check out my channel for those videos. Others, I'm yet to do full reviews. And I'll start with a fragrance from a brand called Vurv, and the fragrance is called Royce Black. Now, this brand, the brand of Vurv, is a sub-brand of Lattafa. And now about this fragrance. Now, this fragrance is a fragrance that's quite heavily inspired by Paco Rabanne 1 Million Privé. It's dark, it's sweet, slightly spicy, slightly woody. 1 Million Privé has been discontinued at this point, and this is one of your best chances to get close to the original DNA of Privé. Performance here is great. I get somewhere between 8 to 10 hours of performance on skin with pretty strong projection in the first about hour and a half. This fragrance is great for cold weather usage. Price tag here is roughly about the $30 mark, so you get a good deal. The second fragrance in this video is going to be from the house of Rue Broca, and it's called Luminus. Now, Rue Broca is a sub-brand of Afnan, and their most famous fragrance is Rue Broca TRM, which is a great alternative to Bulgari's Tiger. Now, this one, when I ordered this one online, I didn't know how this smells. I was hoping that it would be a clone of Dolce & Gabbana, the one Mysterious Nights, Luminous Nights, excuse me, but it turned out to be something completely different, and in this case, this is a clone or an alternative to Dior Sauvage Elixir, but with an interesting twist. The difference here, the main difference between this and the original scent is the fact that Rue Broca have went with an interesting blackcurrant note in the opening of Luminous. So it's a fruity opening compared to the spicy opening that you get from Sauvage Elixir. On the dry down, the Luminous gets very close to the original scent. Performance wise, this, at least so far, has not been a great performer. It's about average. I get about somewhere between 6 to 7 hours of performance with very strong projection in the first hour and a half. Price tag is super low, roughly about $25. The next two fragrances are going to be from the house of Lattafa. Now, the first one that I'm going to show you is from the Lattafa Pride line. It saw some hype a few months ago, but I think it still remained and remains to this day a little bit underrated. The fragrance is called Eternal Oud. It comes in very interesting packaging. The bottle looks very interesting, looks nice. It will look nice in anybody's collection. This fragrance is a great alternative to Grand Soir. You get a very, very sweet fragrance. If I have to use just a couple of words to explain this fragrance, is going to be super sweet and unisex. There's a sweet plum note in this fragrance. There's amber, vanilla, tonka bean. As I said, super sweet fragrance, perfectly unisex, great for cold weather usage. Performance is great. 8 to 10 hours of performance, quite a strong projection in the first about 2 hours. The fourth fragrance in this video and the second Lattafa in this video is going to be the Lattafa Hayaati Gold Elixir. Now, this fragrance, if you look up on Fragrantica, you'll see that most people are comparing this one to Armani's Code Profumo. And I would say, yes, they bear some similarities, but I don't think this is a straight-up clone of Profumo. It will get you close to the original scent profile. You know, got that leathery, sweet scent, but this one, to my nose, is a bit more fruity compared to the original, slightly less sweet, and the leather note in here is more prominent compared to the Code Profumo. Very nice, very interesting, sort of a soft suede leather note in this one. Performance, I'm still testing this one out. It's relatively new to my collection, but so far it seems to be good. 7 to 8 hours of performance with a nice projection in the first about hour and a half. The next fragrance is going to be from the house of Ard Al Zaafaran, and it's called Wafa. This fragrance comes in a very luxurious packaging, and the whole bottle looks super nice. It's heavy and feels of very high quality. The scent profile in here, some people compare this or call this a clone of Kilian's Black Phantom. I wouldn't call it exactly a clone, but rather a fragrance that's been inspired by Black Phantom. It's a dark scent, slightly boozy, spicy, quite sweet in the dry down. The opening here can be a bit challenging, especially to my nose. It's quite challenging. The first sort of 30 minutes of this fragrance, the opening, I don't enjoy it that much. But once this starts to go in its dry down, I really like it. It starts to become sweet, sort of a caramel, chocolatey vibe you get out of this fragrance. Performance is very good, about 8 hours at least so far in my testing. Projection is also quite good, for about an hour and a half, projects quite strongly. The next one is from a brand that's called Al Absar, and the fragrance is called Job Sakar. Now this house, this is the only fragrance from this house that I have. I think this is another sub-brand of Lattafa, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. What I'm sure though is that this is a great alternative to Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. In fact, from the fragrances that I've tried so far in my fragrance journey, this probably is the closest one to Ombre Leather. Now, the only real difference that I pick up between this and the original is the fact that the leather note in Job Sakar is actually stronger and feels a little bit more rugged, but rugged in a good way compared to Ombre Leather. Just think of this as a more masculine version of Ombre Leather. The next fragrance is from the house of Maison Alhambra, and it's called Hercules. This, of course, is a clone of Parfum de Marly's Hayaati. You know, it's come from this line of fragrances from Maison Alhambra that replicate the Parfum de Marly scent. This is not like a super high quality clone of Hayaati, but still will get you somewhat close to the original scent for a fraction of the price. I paid about actually less than $25 for this fragrance. You still get that somewhat of that sweetness, some of those nice tobacco notes in here. Of course, this is not as well blended as the original one, but once again, as I said, this costs a fraction of the price of the original. Performance, about 7 hours on skin in my testing so far. Projection, more on the moderate, on the soft side for about an hour, maybe slightly above 1 hour. The next fragrance is from the house of Rasasi, and it's called the Rasasi Daarej. Now this is a fragrance that saw a bit of a hype maybe about a year ago, and since then the hype has died down, but I think this deserves more attention for what it is. Now this is a fragrance that's very reminiscent of a long discontinued designer fragrance from the house of Valentino, the Valentino V. What you get with this fragrance, this is a spicy, sweet, woody fragrance, slightly musky on the dry down. It's a fragrance that, in my experience, is sort of a compliment getter. Performance here is good. I get about 7 to 8 hours of performance on my skin with a soft projection for about hour and a half. The next fragrance is going to be again another sub-brand of Lattafa, the house of Al Wataniya, and the fragrance is called Atar Al Weasel. Now, from my experience, this is the closest thing that you can get to Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultramont scent-wise. Now there are many clones out there of Ultramont, but from the ones that I've tried scent-wise, this is the closest one to the original. To get you very close with that sweet pear opening. This one misses, compared to the original, misses a slightly of the mark in the opening. It's not exactly the same sweetness as you get with the original, but on the dry down it will get you super close to the original. Performance is great, 8, 9, 10 hours of performance. Projection is also great, 2 hours of strong projection. Price tag, again, super low, about $25, somewhere around that. The next fragrance is from the house of Swiss Arabian, and it's called Kenzy. Now this fragrance is relatively new to my collection. I got it a few weeks ago. It's super cheap. and it's a very interesting alternative to things like Xerjoff's Herba Pura or Tiziana Terenzi's Kirke. In my opinion, to my nose, this is like a more fruitier version to those fragrances. It misses a bit of that powderiness that you get, especially with Herba Pura, which makes it more wearable to guys, in my opinion. It's a unisex fragrance that still leans a little bit to the female side, but I think guys can wear this one easily. Great scent for cold, for warm weather. Performance here has been surprisingly good. I get at least, I've worn this a couple of times, and every time I've gotten at least 8 hours of performance on skin with a pretty good projection in the first about hour and a half. Price tag super low, again around about the $25 mark. The next two fragrances are going to be from the house of Armaf, and the first one is a fragrance that I've shown a couple of times in my video, but I think this definitely deserves more attention. And this thing is called Club de Nuit Intense Men Parfum Oil. Something a little bit different to everything else that I've shown you so far. This is a parfum oil, meaning that there's no alcohol in here. You just get the probably 100% concentrated parfum oil in here. There's an interesting way for you to apply this fragrance. You basically have to use this applier. What this is a sort of like a fruitier version of the Club de Nuit Intense Men DNA. It's more lemony, but lemony in a good way. The lemon note in here doesn't feel artificial. It feels really realistic. Performance is great on skin. It lasts over 10 hours, no problem. The only sort of a drawback with this, because this is a fragrance oil, it has no alcohol in it. It just does not project. The second fragrance from Armaf that I'm going to show you in this video is called the Armaf Hunter Killer. Now, this is one of the newest releases from Armaf. This was announced at the beginning of the year. I think it was March or something like that. And for the past few months, this has been available at the retailers. I recently got my hands on this fragrance and I've been really impressed. First of all, before buying the Hunter Killer, I thought that the Detour Noir bottle will forever remain the ugliest bottle in my collection, but I was wrong, since this thing, I think, takes the crown for the ugliest bottle. Just look at this disaster of bottle. But that doesn't matter, because the scent in here is fantastic. Now, some people have compared this to Mancera Red Tobacco. Other people have compared this to L'Homme Ideal Extreme. I would say it's somewhere in the middle between those two fragrances, maybe leaning a little bit towards the Mancera Red Tobacco side. It's sort of like a milder, more wearable version of Red Tobacco with some hints of L'Homme Ideal Extreme in here. It's sweet, it's slightly dark. It's a compliment getter. I've had this for a couple of weeks and I've received a few compliments already wearing this fragrance. Performance here is good, 8, 9, up, sometimes even up to 10 hours of performance. Projection is slightly more on the softer side for about hour and a half to 2 hours. Price tag somewhere between $30 to $40. This is still new to the market, so it's probably a little bit more expensive, but all in all, the scent in here is really, the quality of the scent in here is really impressive. The last fragrance in this video is going to be from the house of Armaf, and it's called Tribute or Tribute Blue. This is a fragrance that deserves a lot more attention than it actually is getting at the moment. A scent profile that, to my nose, is somewhat close to Bois Imperial from Essential Parfums. You get a very interesting, very unique scent profile. It's woody, it's musky, it's slightly sweet, ambery sweet. There are some spices in here, some fresh notes. Depending on the, I don't know, every time I wear this, I start to pick up some different notes in this fragrance. Very long lasting, probably you can call this one beast mode, at least 10 hours of performance. Projection a little bit more on the softer side. Price tag a little bit more expensive, but it comes in a very luxurious packaging, and the whole presentation feels very luxurious. If you're looking for a very versatile fragrance that will get you compliments and will work all year round without a problem, with great performance, definitely check out Tribute Blue from the house of Afnan. So, in today's video, I showed you 13 Middle Eastern fragrances that are great, but in my opinion are underrated and deserve more attention. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Stay safe and I hope I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye bye.